Hey guys, tonight we're stepping back in time to explore the wildest, most extravagant celebrations the ancient Greeks held in honor of their gods. From ecstatic dances to wild feasts and blood-curdling rituals, these festivities were nothing short of legendary. The Greeks didn't just worship their gods, they threw massive, unrestrained parties to win their favor. But before we dive into these mind-blowing ceremonies, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and which ancient festival you'd want to experience. Trust me, this is a journey through history you don't want to miss. As you walk through the gentle breeze of an ancient Greek village, the air feels alive with purpose. It's a simple village, nestled between rolling hills, where the barley fields sway gently, their golden tips brushing against the cool air. You can almost hear them whispering, each kernel of grain carrying the weight of centuries of tradition. The rhythm of life here is tied to the land. The villagers, with their hands rough from toil, are preparing for something significant, something that connects them to the gods themselves. In this early world, before grand temples or towering statues of gods, the Greeks celebrated with modest rituals. They didn't need intricate ceremonies or grand palaces to feel the presence of the divine. They only needed the earth beneath their feet and the sky above them. The first Greek festivals were born from the most basic of needs, the desire to honor the gods for the food they grew and the blessings they received from the land. These festivals weren't filled with the loud music or dramatic processions that might come later. Instead, they were simple. They were quiet moments of prayer, of offerings made with the purest intentions. Imagine the sound of the wind, soft against your skin, carrying the rustle of barley plants. It's almost like nature itself is part of this prayer. As you watch, the villagers gather round a fire, the smoke rising up into the sky like a messenger, carrying their hopes and wishes to the gods. They offer simple grains, a small portion of their harvest. The scent of olive oil, poured onto the stones to burn in sacrifice, mixes with the fresh, earthy fragrance of the fields. The air feels full, as if everything in nature is listening. At first, these festivals were tied directly to the seasons, to the agricultural cycles. The Greeks believed that the gods controlled the flow of nature, how the seasons turned, how crops grew, and how animals thrived. The ancient Greek festival calendar was a reflection of this deep connection to the earth. It was not about extravagance. It was about understanding the land, respecting the gods, and ensuring the survival of the community. You can hear the soft chants of prayers, murmured low and steady, as the people gather together. Their voices are filled with reverence, but also a kind of peace, like they know that what they're doing is a natural part of life. It's almost as if they're not just asking for blessings, but acknowledging that the gods are already part of everything, of the soil, the plants, the animals, and even the wind that stirs the barley. They believe that by offering a portion of their harvest, they are keeping the gods content, ensuring that next season, the land will again be generous. The ceremonies are modest. There are no loud trumpets, no grand announcements. The villagers aren't trying to impress anyone. They are simply honoring a timeless tradition that connects them to the divine in a way that feels incredibly personal. They aren't just performing a ritual. They are communicating with the gods, as if they were friends or family members. The gods are as much a part of their daily lives as the sun that rises every morning, and the moon that rises over the hills at night. The simplicity of the ceremony might surprise you. There are no massive altars here, no grand sacrifices or elaborate gifts. Instead, the villagers gather around a simple fire, passing around cups of wine, breaking bread together, and offering their thanks. They don't need anything grand or extravagant to feel the gods' presence. Their devotion is genuine, unadorned, and rooted in the earth beneath their feet. As the evening draws on, you can feel the cool air begin to settle in. The crackle of the fire fills the silence, and the people around you sit close, their voices calm but full of meaning. There's a quiet reverence here, a sense of sacredness in the ordinary moments. The soft chant of prayer fills the air once again, as they ask for protection, for good health, and for the blessings of the gods in the year to come. Even the simplest of actions, the motion of hands as they stir the fire, the small bowls of honey cakes and figs passed from person to person, becomes an offering to the gods. Every gesture, every thought, every breath feels connected to something larger, something divine. And in this connection, the village feels whole, bound together by the land, the gods, and each other. In this time, before the grand festivals in the cities, the religious practices were profoundly rooted in the cycles of nature, the rhythms of the earth's planting and harvesting. The changing of the seasons became the framework for the festivals. The gods weren't abstract figures in the sky. They were part of the natural world, in the wind that whispered through the trees, the rain that nourished the soil, and the sun that gave life to the crops. The Greeks understood that in every cycle, there was something divine at play. It's almost like the land itself is speaking, isn't it? You can feel it in the breeze, in the rustling of the barley, in the deep resonant hum of the earth as the villagers move with purpose. Their lives are intertwined with the gods and the earth, and every small act, whether it's offering the first fruits of the season or lighting a fire, becomes a part of something larger, a link in a chain that connects them to the divine. Then, as the fire begins to die down and the sky turns a deep shade of indigo, there's a sense of fulfillment. The offerings have been made, the prayers offered, and now it's time to reflect, to be still and quiet in the presence of nature's rhythms. The gods have been honored, and the land has been cared for. For a moment, you are one with this ancient community, this simple yet profound ritual, and you can't help but feel a sense of calm, as if the earth itself is sighing in satisfaction. The sounds of the festival fade into the distance as the village settles into sleep. The crackle of the fire is replaced by the soft night sounds of crickets and distant animal calls. The wind picks up again, rustling the barley in the fields, whispering through the olive trees. It feels like a natural lullaby, the earth's gentle breath, inviting you to rest and dream. This is how it all began, the humble, simple beginnings of Greek religious festivals. No grand temples, no massive crowds, just a small, close-knit community coming together to honor the gods and the land. Through their quiet devotion, they built a tradition that would eventually grow into the magnificent celebrations we associate. With ancient Greece, the roots of these festivals were planted in the earth, and in the years that followed, they would reach for the stars. But it all started here, in this quiet moment, in this connection to the gods and the land. As you drift deeper into sleep, the whispers of the barley fields, the crackle of the fire, and the soft, soothing prayers of the villagers linger in your mind. You are part of this ancient world now, woven into its fabric of earth and divine connection. Every season, every festival, and every prayer feels like it was meant for you, too. In the quietest of moments, the gods are near. You find yourself standing in the warm sun. The distant hills around you are alive with the sounds of nature. But in front of you, an awe-inspiring spectacle is unfolding. It's the moment of the Olympic Games, and everything seems to shimmer with energy and purpose. The ancient Greek city of Olympia is the stage for this grand event, a celebration that's about much more than sport. The Olympics, held every 4 years, are not just about athletic prowess. They are a sacred ritual in honor of Zeus, the mighty, father of the gods. The sun beats down, its warmth touching your skin as you stand among the crowds of excited spectators. The air is thick with anticipation, and you can almost taste it. The charged atmosphere, the energy of the people, and the sacredness of the occasion. Everywhere you look, you see athletes, priests, citizens, all gathered for the same purpose, to honor Zeus with their strength, skill, and devotion. The games are about more than just who wins. They are about connecting to the divine will of Zeus himself. Here, every race run, every jump made, and every throw of the javelin is a prayer, a tribute to the god who rules the heavens. The Olympic Games are held in honor of Zeus, and this is no ordinary festival. The opening ceremony is filled with a grandeur that reflects the god's majesty. You can hear the murmurs of the crowd, the rustling of tunics as athletes prepare themselves. Priests, wearing their ceremonial robes, move through the crowd, offering prayers and sacrifices. The smell of roasted meats fills the air, wafting through the city like a rich, inviting aroma. It's not just the athletes who are here to honor Zeus, it's everyone. The food, the music, the rituals, all are offerings to the gods. In the distance, you hear the clattering of chariot wheels, and for a moment, it feels like time slows down. The chariot races are about to begin. You can almost feel the vibrations of the crowd as it stirs with excitement. The energy is palpable, as if the gods themselves are watching over the proceedings. There's a sense of anticipation, a quiet, reverent hush, and then suddenly cheers erupt from the crowd. The chariots race forward, the horses galloping at full speed, and the dust rises in the air, mixing with the bright sunlight. The sight is breathtaking. The athletes, their bodies glistening with sweat, are all competing in the name of Zeus. This is not a mere competition. This is a sacred rite, a way for the people to connect with the divine. You feel the vibrations in the air, the energy of the crowd, the communal excitement, and the pride in being a part of something so much bigger than any one individual. The athletes are offering their strength and skill to Zeus, and in doing so, they invite the favor of the gods upon the city and the people. It's a moment of unity, of reverence, and of awe. As you look around, you see faces illuminated with excitement, a reflection of the deep respect everyone has for the god who stands at the center of this all, Zeus. But it's not just the athletes who are involved in this sacred act. The entire city is alive with devotion. The opening ceremony continues, with a procession of priests carrying offerings, burning incense, gifts of food, and wine. The smoke rises toward the sky like a prayer. The smell of the sacrifice fills the air, and as the incense burns, it's almost as if the very atmosphere has become sacred. You can feel the reverence in the air, the connection to the gods, and the belief that this act will bring divine favor to the city and its people. As the games progress, the energy intensifies. The athletes compete fiercely, but you notice something different about this competition. There's a sense of humility in every moment. Each competitor, no matter how skilled, is performing not just for personal glory, but for the favor of Zeus. In every step, every movement, there is a silent prayer, an offering. The Greeks believed that in this sacred space, the gods were present, watching over them. They knew that their success on the field was tied to the will of the gods. Victory wasn't just about physical prowess, it was about aligning with divine favor, about proving oneself worthy of Zeus's attention and blessing. As you watch the athletes compete, there's a certain rhythm to it all. The sound of the runners' feet hitting the earth, the roar of the crowd as they cheer, the quick breath of competitors pushing themselves to the limit. Everything flows together like a grand prayer. You can almost feel the sacred energy coursing through the air. The games, though competitive, are a form of worship. The athletes, the crowd, and even the priests know this. It's about honoring Zeus, about connecting to something larger than themselves. You glance around and see the gleaming faces of the spectators, their eyes wide with awe and excitement. The Olympic Games are a reflection of Greek culture honoring gods, testing one's limits, and celebrating the very best of human achievement. But they're also about something deeper. These athletes, by showing their physical strength, are embodying the qualities of Zeus himself: power, wisdom, and authority. The games offer a chance for people to connect with the divine and to demonstrate their devotion through their abilities. The sun begins to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the stadium. The intensity of the games continues to build, with athletes pushing themselves further than they've ever gone before. You can hear the rhythmic pounding of their feet, the swish of the javelin cutting through the air, and the sharp breaths of runners as they race toward the finish line. Every movement is steeped in ritual, a display of devotion to the king of the gods. In the midst of it all, there's a calmness. Even though the competition is fierce, there's an underlying respect and reverence. You feel this deep connection to the divine, as though the presence of Zeus is everywhere. The air seems to vibrate with his power. The very earth beneath your feet feels blessed by his presence. It's as though the games themselves are a conversation with the gods, a way for the people to reach out and say, "We honor you." With each victory, you can see the faces of the winners sweat-slicked and exhausted, but filled with joy. The crowds cheer, their voices rising like waves in the ocean. But there's a deeper sense of fulfillment here, a recognition that these athletes have done more than just win. They have connected with the gods. The prizes they receive, the olive wreaths placed on their heads, are not just rewards for physical achievement. They are symbols of Zeus's favor, his approval of their efforts, and their devotion. As the games draw to a close, there's a moment of reflection. The crowd's energy begins to settle, and the priests prepare to offer a final prayer of thanks to Zeus. The smell of incense fills the air once more, and the flicker of torchlight casts soft shadows across the faces of the athletes and spectators alike. You watch as the final sacrifice is made in offering to Zeus, thanking him for his favor and the successful completion of the games. The moment feels sacred, timeless, as if the entire world has paused to acknowledge the presence of the divine. In this ancient world, the Olympics were much more than just a sporting event. They were a way for the Greeks to honor their gods, to connect with Zeus, and to celebrate their shared humanity. The games were a sacred space where the physical and the divine intersected, where every act of strength and skill was an offering, a prayer to the king of the gods. The energy of the games, its heat, its passion, its reverence is something that transcends time. A moment when the people of ancient Greece came together to honor the divine. And as the final echoes of the cheering crowd fade, and the sun sets, behind the hills, you feel a deep sense of peace, as though you've been a part of something ancient and sacred. You've witnessed not just a competition, but a ritual, a bond between the human and the divine, a timeless tradition that continues to echo through the centuries. The games have ended, but the connection to Zeus remains, lingering in the cool, evening air. The divine will of the king of the gods has been honored, and for the moment, there is peace. The moon is full, and the night is alive with music, laughter, and the deep beat of drums echoing through the forest. The air is thick with the scent of wine, sweet and rich, mingling with the earthy fragrance of the trees and the faint aroma of incense rising from the fire pits. You find yourself in the midst of a celebration like no other. Revelry dedicated to Dionysus, the god of wine, fertility, and wild abandon. It's a world where the rules of the ordinary are suspended, where the divine flows freely, and where every moment is an opportunity for ecstatic release. You're surrounded by dancers, their bodies swaying, twisting, and spinning in rhythms that feel almost primal. Their robes rustle as they move, flashing in the firelight, and their faces are hidden behind masks, some playful, some wild, all reflecting the chaotic, untamed spirit of Dionysus himself. The energy is electric, as though the very ground beneath your feet is pulsing with the rhythm of the drums, the pounding beats that seem to sync with your heartbeat. You take a deep breath, and the taste of wine fills your senses. It's sweet, yet slightly tangy, smooth and cool as it slides down your throat, leaving behind the warmth of its spirit. The wine is flowing freely, shared among the revelers, and with each sip, you feel the world become more vivid, more alive. It's as if the veil between the mortal and the divine is thinning, and you can almost feel Dionysus himself moving among the crowd, urging the dancers to lose themselves completely in the rhythm, in the joy, in the freedom. As the night deepens, the celebrations only intensify. The drumming grows louder, more insistent, as if it's calling to something deep inside of you. You can't help but tap your foot, then move your body, feeling the infectious energy of the dance. The sounds of laughter and joy blend with the music, the shouting of encouragement, and the ecstatic cries of those lost in the moment. There's no shame here, no need for restraint. It's as if the very essence of life itself is being celebrated. Emotion, every sensation, unfiltered and raw. The masks the dancers wear seem to take on a life of their own. You notice that some are exaggerated, elongated features, wide grins, eyes that seem to gleam with a wild joy. It's as if the masks are not just covering their faces but releasing their spirits, allowing the dancers to embody the chaotic, untamed nature of Dionysus. With every spin, every twist of the body, they become one with the god they honor. And there, in the center of it all, there's a figure, a leader of sorts, dressed in vibrant robes, crowned with ivy and grapevines. The leader dances with an abandon that feels contagious. You watch as they move, their body fluid and free, a symbol of the god's influence over the crowd. The energy builds around them, and you can't help but be swept into the movement, your own body responding to the divine force at play. The wine continues to flow, and you feel a warm, relaxed sense spreading through you, as though the weight of the world has melted away. The concerns of the day, anything that may have troubled you, are distant, like old memories, fading into the background as you become absorbed in the celebration. It's not just about dancing or drinking, it's about release, about transcending the boundaries of everyday life and connecting with something much larger, much more elemental. There's a sense of timelessness here, a feeling that this celebration could go on forever, suspended in the warmth of the firelight and the rhythm of the drums. The fire crackles beside you, its orange glow casting long shadows on the ground. You feel the warmth on your face as the flames leap higher, dancing in their own way, echoing the movements of the revelers. The fire is more than just a source of heat. It's a symbol, a conduit for the divine energy that flows through the festival. As the flames flicker and crackle, you feel the power of Dionysus surrounding you, infusing the very air with his presence. This isn't just a party, it's a sacred ritual, a moment when the mortal and the divine come together. In perfect harmony, the music swells, the drums getting louder, faster, more intense. You see the dancers spinning faster now, their movements becoming more frantic, as if they are surrendering completely to the will of Dionysus. Their faces are joyful, ecstatic, lost in the rhythm of the moment. You can feel it now, desire to lose yourself, to give in to the music, the movement, the divine intoxication. There is no separation here between you and the dance, between you and the god. Everything is intertwined. As you look around, you see that no one is standing still. Everyone is caught in the rhythm, their bodies moving freely, no longer confined by the rules of everyday life. It's as if the very earth is alive with the spirit of Dionysus, urging everyone to give in to the wild joy, to embrace the chaos and the freedom that comes with it. The masks are no longer just symbols of disguise, they are representations of the different facets of Dionysus himself. Some masks are joyful, others are mischievous, while others still are filled with a kind of wild, untamable energy. Each dancer becomes a manifestation of the god's power, embodying the freedom and release that he represents. The sounds of the celebration fill the air: drums, laughter, the clink of wine cups, the rustling of robes as dancers spin and twirl. It's a soundscape of pure joy, an auditory reflection of the chaos and beauty of life itself. The night feels endless, timeless, as if the very fabric of the universe has slowed down to let this celebration exist in its purest, most ecstatic form. For a moment, you pause and close your eyes, letting the sound of the drums wash over you. The world around you fades, and you can feel the pulse of the music in your chest. It's as if the beat of the drums is the heartbeat of the earth itself, connecting you to something larger, something eternal. You feel the presence of Dionysus in the very air you breathe, in the beating of your heart, in the rush of your blood. The boundary between the mortal and the divine begins to blur, and you can sense the power of the god surging through you, urging you to join the celebration completely. You open your eyes and look around once more. The scene before you is a whirlwind of movement, color, and sound. The dancers continue to spin, their faces alight with joy, their bodies freed from the constraints of the everyday world. The drums beat louder, faster, and the energy of the night reaches a fever pitch. You feel the wild joy, the chaotic beauty of the celebration, and you understand it's not just about the wine or the dance. It's about the release, the surrender to the divine. Dionysus doesn't demand control. He encourages release, freedom, and transcendence. The fire continues to burn brightly, its warmth wrapping around you like a comforting embrace. The flames flicker and crackle, their dance mirroring the movement of the revelers. And in that moment, you realize that this isn't just a celebration of Dionysus. It's a celebration of life itself. The chaos, the freedom, the wildness of it all, it's a reflection of the very essence of existence. A reminder that life is not just about structure and order. Sometimes, it's about embracing the unknown, the unpredictable, the untamed. As the night carries on, the revelers continue to dance, to drink, to sing. The air is thick with joy, and you can't help but be swept up in it. You feel alive, free, and connected to something larger, something divine. Dionysus has called you to this moment, and you've answered his call, surrendering to the rhythm, to the wild joy that surrounds you. There's no need for restraint, no need for control. In this sacred space, you are free, and the divine is right there with you, dancing alongside you. And as the celebration continues into the night, you find yourself caught in the pure, ecstatic energy of the Bacchanalia. You are one with the music, one with the dance, and one with Dionysus himself. The night is yours to lose, and you give yourself to it fully, knowing that in this moment there is only joy, only freedom, only the divine. The wildness of the celebration is a reflection of the untamed beauty of life itself, and you are right there, living it fully, in the presence of the God who makes all things possible. The air is cool and heavy with anticipation. As you walk through the narrow path leading to the sacred site of Eleusis, a sense of quiet reverence fills the atmosphere, almost as if the very land knows the significance of the place. You can feel it in the air, something ancient, something powerful. The path is lined with trees, their leaves rustling gently in the night breeze, and the faint sound of footsteps behind you reminds you that you are not alone. The whispers of others are soft, almost like secrets shared in hushed tones, as if speaking too loudly would break the spell of this sacred journey. Ahead of you, the glow of torches flickers, casting long, dancing shadows against the cool stone walls. The scent of incense drifts through the air, mingling with the earthy fragrance of the land. You can almost taste it, the combination of fragrant herbs and ancient smoke that promises something profound. The torches light the way, but it's not the brightness that guides you, it's the stillness, the solemnity of the space that pulls you forward. This is Eleusis, the site of the Eleusinian mysteries, one of the most sacred and secretive rituals. In ancient Greece, as you step closer, the world around you begins to shift. The chatter of the outside world falls away, replaced by a quiet reverence that seems to hum in the very air. The sound of the fire crackling in the distance reaches your ears, a rhythmic, soothing crackle that draws you in. The flames glow softly, their flicker a gentle reminder of the presence of the divine. There's a coolness to the air, a crispness that contrasts with the warmth of the fire. The stone beneath your feet feels ancient and sacred, worn smooth from countless years of worship. You run your fingers along it as you walk, sensing the weight of the many who have walked this path before you. This isn't a place for the curious, or the uncommitted. The Eleusinian mysteries are sacred and secret, open only to initiates who have undergone the necessary rites of passage. But you are here now, standing on the edge of something larger than yourself. The air feels thick with mystery, as if you're standing at the boundary between this world and the next, between life and death. The gods of Eleusis, Demeter and Persephone, are always present here, their influence stretching back to the very roots of the land, their essence woven into every stone, every whisper of wind, every flicker of flame. As you enter the sacred space, the quiet murmurs of your fellow initiates blend with the crackling of the fire and the soft rustling of the robes of those gathered around. The sense of awe is palpable, each person revering the mystery that awaits. You can hear the breath of others soft, shallow, as if they, too, are aware of the sacredness of this moment. There's an air of expectancy, like everyone is waiting for something to be revealed, something beyond the veil of the ordinary world. The ritual begins with a slow procession, the movement of bodies lit by the flickering light of the torches. The shadows stretch long across the stone floors, the flicker of fire making everything seem both ancient and alive. You hear the rustle of robes, the soft shuffle of feet on the ground, and the deep, melodic chants of the priests as they begin the opening prayers. Their voices rise and fall like waves in a slow tide, each word steeped in reverence for Demeter, goddess of the harvest, and her daughter Persephone, who spent half of each year in the underworld. The chants carry through the air, their rhythm calming, grounding you as you listen. As you move further into the heart of the ritual space, you begin to notice the sacred objects placed around you. Vessels filled with offerings, fruits, grains, and flowers are scattered at the feet of statues and altars, all laid out with a care that reflects the importance of these offerings. The scent of freshly harvested grains, the sweet fragrance of fruit, and the earthy smell of flowers fill the air. The space feels sacred, as though it's been preserved for centuries just for this moment. You can almost hear the whispers of those who have come before you, those who have stood in this very spot and felt the same awe, the same connection to the divine. The sounds of the fire crackling again reach your ears, the flames dancing in the hearth like the spirits of the gods, themselves burning bright with a divine fire. The coolness of the stone beneath your feet contrasts with the warmth of the flames, and for a moment you close your eyes to take it all in, the warmth of the fire, the scent of incense, the soft murmurs of prayer, and the vibrations of the chants that are meant to carry your soul closer to the gods. The priest's voice grows softer, almost intimate now, as the ritual moves deeper into its secret phases. You can feel the air shift, as if something sacred is being unveiled, something profound and timeless. The presence of Demeter and Persephone feels closer now, more immediate. It's as if their divine energy is surrounding you, infusing the space with a sense of deep connection to both life and death, the eternal cycle of nature. There is no fear, only reverence and overwhelming sense of being in the presence of something ancient and powerful, a force beyond comprehension. You stand still for a moment, taking it all in, the cool stone, the flickering fire, the subtle scent of sacred offerings. Everything feels charged with an energy that's almost tangible. You can feel it in your chest, a gentle pressure that rises with each breath. The chanting continues, and as it does, you realize that you are not just an observer. You are a part of this. The connection to the divine is not something distant or abstract. It is right here, right now, in this space, in this moment. The ritual continues to unfold, each step drawing you deeper into the mystery. The torches glow brighter, casting their warm light on the faces of the initiates, their expressions filled with awe and reverence. The chants reach a crescendo, and for a moment, everything feels suspended. The line between this world and the next seems to blur, and you feel as though you are stepping into something beyond time, beyond human understanding. Life, death, and rebirth intertwine in this sacred space, and you are part of that eternal cycle. You can feel your heartbeat slow, your breath becoming deeper, as if you, too, are being transformed in this moment. The mystery is being revealed, to you not in the form of visions or grand gestures, but in the quiet, intimate connection between the earth, the gods, and yourself. You understand, perhaps for the first time, that these rites are not about knowledge or answers. They are about experience, about feeling the divine presence in your body, in your soul, and allowing it to transform you. As the ritual reaches its zenith, you feel a deep sense of peace settle within you. The fear of the unknown is gone. There is only the quiet realization that the mysteries of life, death, and rebirth are part of the divine cycle that governs all things. Demeter and Persephone are here, in this place, their presence felt in every whisper of wind, every flicker of flame, every beat of the drum. And in this sacred space, you are connected to them, to the earth, to the eternal flow of life itself. The chanting begins to fade, the ritual slowly winding down. The torches flicker as the flames begin to die, their light dimming, leaving only the soft glow of the embers. The stone beneath your feet feels cool again, the warmth of the fire retreating, but the sense of peace remains. You have been touched by the divine, by the sacred mystery that only the initiates of Eleusis can know. As you take one last look around the sacred space, the quiet reverence of the place fills you. You know that the mystery is not something that can be fully understood with the mind. It's something to be experienced, to be felt in the deepest part of your being. The gods have touched you here, in this sacred space, and you are forever changed by it. The air is still, the last whispers of the ritual fading into the distance. And you, now a part of the ancient mystery, carry its secret within you, as it is carried within every initiate who has ever stood in this place. You have glimpsed the divine, felt the rhythm of life, death, and rebirth. And now, as the night closes in around you, you carry that sacred experience with you, tucked quietly into the depths of your soul. The sun is bright, warming the stones beneath your feet, and the streets of Athens are alive with excitement. Everywhere you look, there are people gathered, wearing colorful robes that shimmer in the light, and the air is filled with the sound of music flutes, and the rhythmic beat of drums. It's the day of the Panathenaic festival, one of the grandest celebrations in Athens, and the entire city has come together to honor their beloved goddess Athena. She is not just the goddess of wisdom, but also of warfare and protector of the city. And today, Athens is proud to celebrate her with all the grandeur she deserves. You can hear the sound of feet marching in unison as the procession begins. The air is filled with the vibrations of thousands of steps, all moving toward the Parthenon, the magnificent temple that stands at the top of the Acropolis. The ground beneath you feels solid, the weight of history pressing gently on your shoulders. This isn't just a parade, it's a ritual, a sacred offering to the goddess who watches over the city. As you move through the streets, you notice the bright colors of the ceremonial robes worn by the people. There's a sea of white and purple, rich reds and vibrant blues, with golden accents catching the light of the sun. The robes flow gracefully as the people march, their movements synchronized, as if they are all part of a single, sacred dance. The sight is awe-inspiring, and the pride of the Athenians is palpable. They are not just honoring Athena, they are reaffirming their identity, their strength, and their unity as a city. The fragrance of sweet cakes and fruit offerings wafts through the air, mingling with the scent of incense burning from small altars set up along the route. The offerings to Athena are many golden breads, honey cakes, pomegranates, and figs, all delicately arranged on platters. The Athenians know that these gifts, small as they may seem, are expressions of their deep gratitude and respect for their goddess. Each offering is a symbol of the city's devotion, a way to ensure her continued favor and protection. The procession moves slowly, but the energy is high. People are singing songs of praise, and the sound of their voices fills the air, echoing off the stone walls. It's a joyous occasion, but there is a seriousness to it. This isn't just a celebration. It's a deeply spiritual act, a way for the people to show their connection to the divine. As you walk among the crowd, you feel a sense of reverence, as if the very streets of Athens are alive with devotion. There are banners and flags flying, their bright colors fluttering in the breeze. The golden image of Athena, often depicted with her helmet and spear, is visible everywhere on the banners, on the shields carried by the citizens, and on the faces of the priests who lead the procession. You can feel the strength of her presence, even though she is not physically there. The Athenians know that she is watching, her wisdom and power guiding them as they walk this sacred path. As you approach the Parthenon, you see it standing in all its glory, towering above the city. The marble of the temple gleams in the sunlight, its columns rising majestically toward the sky. The grandeur of the building reflects the grandeur of the goddess herself. There's a quiet awe among the crowd as they reach the foot of the temple, a sense of reverence that settles over everything. You can hear the sound of the offerings being placed before the altar, the soft clink of coins, the rustling of leaves. As flowers are laid at the feet of the goddess, the fragrance of the offerings fills the air, sweet and earthy, mixing with the smell of the incense that burns in honor of Athena. The Athenians move with purpose, their eyes focused on the temple, knowing that what they are doing is more than just an act of worship. It is a reaffirmation of their identity as a people, a reminder of the strength and wisdom that Athena bestows upon them. The city is united in this moment, its citizens all working together to honor the goddess who has watched over them through countless battles, who has guided their leaders, and who has ensured the prosperity of their great city. As you stand before the Parthenon, you can't help but feel a sense of pride, not just for the Athenians, but for the city itself. This festival, this grand procession, is a reflection of everything Athens stands for: wisdom, strength, and unity. The people here believe in their goddess, in her ability to protect and guide them, and in her power to shape the fate of their city. There is no doubt in their minds that this day, this festival, is more than just a ritual. It is a powerful declaration of their place in the world, their place under Athena's watchful gaze. As the procession continues, you notice the atmosphere shifting. There's a sense of fulfillment in the air now, a quiet satisfaction. The offerings have been made, the songs have been sung, and the sacred rituals have been performed. The Athenians may return to their daily lives, but they do so with the knowledge that they have honored their goddess, and that their connection to her is strong. Athena's favor has been secured, and her presence will continue to guide them in the days to come. The sounds of the festival begin to soften as the day comes to a close, but the feeling of reverence lingers. The city has come together in the way that only Athens can. The pride of the people, their deep respect for their goddess, and their sense of identity have all been reaffirmed through this grand celebration. You can feel the weight of history in every step, in every chant, and in every offering made to Athena. As the last of the procession moves away, the sun begins to set over the city, casting a warm glow over the Parthenon and the streets below. The city of Athens, proud and powerful, stands as a testament to the strength of its people and the protection of its goddess. The festival may be over for today, but the bond between Athena and the Athenians will remain, a living, breathing connection that will endure for generations. The city settles into the quiet of the evening, but you know that the pride, the strength, and the devotion of the Athenians will never fade. In their hearts, Athena lives on, watching over them with her wisdom and her power. The Panathenaic festival has come to an end, but its echoes will reverberate through the city for years to come. a reminder of the bond between the people of Athens and their divine protector. The air is thick with a quiet, almost palpable sense of anticipation. As you approach the temple of Apollo at Delphi, it stands high in the mountains, its white marble gleaming under the soft light of the morning sun. The path you've walked to get here has been winding and steep, a journey many have undertaken before you. You can feel the weight of history with every step. People from all corners of the ancient world have come here, from far-off lands, seeking answers to their most pressing questions, to receive the wisdom of the gods. This is no ordinary temple. It is the home of the Oracle of Delphi, the most famous and revered oracle in all of Greece. That, as you step closer, the heavy atmosphere presses in, and you can almost feel the stillness of the temple. There's something eerie about it, an otherworldly quiet that wraps around you like a cloak. The bustling sounds of the outside world seem to fade away, leaving only the soft rustling of leaves in the wind and the distant echo of prayers being murmured. You can almost hear the whispers of the gods themselves, hidden beneath the surface of the air. Inside the temple, the air is thick with the scent of burning incense. The smoke curls up lazily, spiraling toward the high ceiling, carrying the prayers of those who have come seeking divine guidance. It's a soothing, almost hypnotic aroma, frankincense and myrrh, sweet and earthy at once. You take a deep breath, and it fills your lungs, relaxing you even as the sense of reverence grows stronger. The faint sound of the priest's chants rises from somewhere deep within the temple. Their voices are soft but unwavering, a steady rhythm that echoes throughout the stone walls. You find yourself standing in the great hall of the temple, the inner sanctum of Apollo. The space is dim, with only the soft glow of torches and the flickering light from the incense illuminating the dark corners. It's as though the entire room is wrapped in a sacred haze, a place where the veil between the mortal and the divine feels thin, as though you could reach through it if you tried hard enough. This is where the Oracle of Delphi, the Pythia, sits, in a trance-like state, receiving divine messages from Apollo. The process of consultation is a sacred ritual, steeped in ancient tradition. Those who seek answers, whether it be for war, politics, or personal matters, come here with the hope that the gods will provide them with guidance. But it is not an easy thing to receive an answer from the gods. You must be prepared, patient, and respectful of the sacredness of this space. As you wait your turn, you notice the heavy stone columns that line the walls of the temple. They're ancient, faces carved with symbols and depictions of gods and heroes. The weight of these images, of these gods, seems to press down on the space. It's as though the gods themselves are watching, silently observing the proceedings. The air feels thick with their presence, like the temple is holding its breath, waiting for the answers to come. When your turn finally arrives, you are escorted deeper into the heart of the temple. The further you go, the quieter it becomes, the silence almost suffocating. You can feel the tension building, the anticipation palpable. As you enter the chamber where the oracle sits, you see her, a woman, draped in flowing robes, seated on a tripod above a chasm where a deep fissure in the earth releases vapors. It is said that these vapors, rising from the cracks in the ground, carry the voice of Apollo himself. Speaking through the Pythia, her eyes are closed, her face serene, but there's an unmistakable sense of connection to something far beyond the human realm. She is in a trance, communicating with the divine, and you can sense the power in the room. The air is thick with the smell of incense, mixed with the faint, acrid scent of the vapors rising from the earth below. You watch in silence as she begins to speak. Her words are not clear at first, disjointed, almost unintelligible, like the language of the gods themselves. The priests, standing nearby, listen carefully, interpreting the cryptic words for you. What she says doesn't always make sense immediately. The prophecies of Delphi were famous for their ambiguity, their tendency to leave room for interpretation. But there's a reason for that. The Greeks believed that the gods didn't always give clear answers, for it was not their role to dictate human actions directly. The gods gave guidance, yes, but it was up to the people to interpret and apply it wisely. And so, the oracles often spoke in riddles, their words carrying the weight of divine wisdom. But wrapped in layers of mystery, you feel a shiver run down your spine as you listen. The weight of the prophecy feels immense, as though the future itself is being revealed in this moment. The power in the room is undeniable. and you understand why so many have sought the guidance of the Oracle of Delphi. Her words, though cryptic, hold the power to shape the course of empires, the destinies of kings, and the fate of wars. The Oracle doesn't just offer predictions, she offers the insight of the gods, a glimpse into the divine will. After the prophecy is delivered, you are escorted out of the temple, the air feeling less heavy now, but still charged with the echoes of the divine. The silence that followed the oracle's words seems to linger in your mind. You reflect on the authority she holds, the weight of her words, and the faith the Greeks placed in her guidance. The Oracle of Delphi was more than just a religious figure. She was a symbol of divine authority, a bridge between the mortal world and the gods. As you step outside into the light of day, the world seems a little different. The mountains surrounding Delphi rise high above you, their peaks shrouded in mist, giving the whole place an ethereal quality. You feel the power of the place still lingering in your chest, a connection to something larger than yourself. The oracle's words may be mysterious, but you now understand why the Greeks trusted them so deeply. They didn't just trust the words themselves, they trusted the process, the ritual, the sacred space where the gods could speak. The role of the oracle in Greek life was profound. Kings, generals, and ordinary citizens alike traveled to Delphi, seeking guidance for their most important decisions. And it wasn't just about getting an answer to a specific question. It was about connecting to something divine, something eternal. The Oracle of Delphi represented the belief that the gods had a hand in the fate of the world, and through her, the Greeks could tap into that power, gaining insight into the forces that shaped their lives. The oracles were a part of Greek culture, a manifestation of the belief that the gods were active participants in the world. People didn't just look to the oracles for advice, they looked to them to find meaning, to find a sense of connection to the divine order. The Oracle of Delphi, with her cryptic riddles and mysterious prophecies, was a key figure in this process, a living channel between the gods and humanity. Her divine authority was unquestioned, and her influence stretched far beyond the walls of Delphi. Leaders consulted her before battle, politicians sought her guidance before making important decisions, and everyday people relied on her prophecies to guide their personal lives. As you walk away from the temple, you can feel the weight of the experience. The oracle's words echo in your mind, their meaning slowly beginning to take shape. There's a sense of clarity, even in the ambiguity, as if you've touched something eternal. You realize that this is the power of prophecy, the power to open the door to divine wisdom, to offer glimpses into the future, and to shape the decisions of the world. The Oracle of Delphi wasn't just a voice, she was a living connection to the gods. And for the Greeks, that was a power unlike any other. The air is cool, but the warmth of anticipation fills the space as you stand among the crowd, waiting for the most sacred moment of the festival. It's a festival unlike any other, one that has been passed down through generations. And today, it's your turn to witness the lighting of the sacred flame of Prometheus. You've heard of this moment, read about it, and now, you're here. You can feel the gravity of it, like the earth itself is holding its breath, waiting for the flame to be kindled once again. As the crowd gathers, there is a hushed reverence in the air. People stand in silence, their eyes fixed on the altar, where a large, carefully prepared fire pit is waiting. The scent of burning herbs, sweet and smoky, floats through the cool evening air, mingling with the faint scent of the earth and the gathering crowd. It's a smell that fills your senses, heavy with history, with meaning. You take a deep breath, inhaling the ancient fragrance, letting it settle within you, grounding you to this moment. The lighting of the flame is a ritual that symbolizes the gift of fire to humanity, a gift that Prometheus, the Titan, stole from the gods and gave to mankind. In many ways, fire represents both creation and destruction, life and death. It is the force that fueled the growth of civilization, from the warmth of the hearth to the forging of tools and weapons. And yet, fire is also a reminder of the gods' power, of their ability to create and destroy with a single spark. It is both a blessing and a danger, a gift and a challenge. As the priests prepare the altar, you can feel the tension in the air. The flames that will soon be lit are not just ordinary fire, they are the flame of Prometheus, the symbol of human progress, of the divine spark that ignited civilization itself. You watch as the high priest stands before the altar, his hands raised in prayer, his voice barely audible over the soft rustling of the crowd. The words he speaks are ancient, filled with reverence and awe, as if he is calling upon the gods to bless the flame and ensure that it burns brightly for the people. The flickering of torches cast long shadows, stretching across the stone pathways, and the faces of the gathered worshippers. You can feel the heat from the flames of the torches, warming your skin even from a distance. The high priest's hands move slowly, with great care, as he reaches for the sacred flame. It is said that only the purest flame, the one that has been carefully nurtured and guarded for this moment, can be used to light the fire of Prometheus. It must be a flame born from the heart of the earth, ignited by the hands of the gods. There is a deep, almost sacred silence that falls over the crowd as the high priest raises the torch high. The torch flickers in his grasp, its light dancing. In the soft breeze, the warmth of the fire is palpable, and you can feel the excitement building in your chest. It is as though the entire world is waiting, holding its breath, for this single moment to unfold. The high priest steps forward, holding the torch above his head. His eyes are focused on the altar, his lips moving in silent prayer. The crowd watches, eyes fixed on him, as he brings the flame closer to the fire pit. The air is thick with the scent of burning herbs, and the flickering light from the torch casts a soft, golden glow over the scene. There is something almost magical about the way the flames dance in the dimming light of the evening, something primal and powerful. Finally, the flame is lowered, and the torch touches the altar. For a moment, there is only silence, and then, like the breath of the earth itself, the fire bursts to life, its warmth spreading out in waves, casting a bright, golden glow across the faces of the people. The flame of Prometheus is lit, burning as brightly and fiercely as ever, and the crowd erupts into a chorus of cheers and praises. You can feel the heat of the fire, even from where you stand, and it fills you with a sense of awe. The light of the flame reflects in the eyes of the people around you, their faces illuminated by its glow, their expressions filled with reverence. This is no ordinary fire, it is the symbol of human achievement, of the divine gift that allowed mankind to rise above the animals, to build cities, to craft tools, to create art, to explore the world. As the flame burns brightly, you reflect on its significance. Fire has always been a double-edged sword. It has the power to warm, to cook, to light the way in the darkness, but it can also destroy. The story of Prometheus is one of defiance and sacrifice. He gave fire to humanity despite the wrath of Zeus, knowing that it would forever change the course of human history. He took a risk, a leap of faith, believing that mankind's potential would be worth the cost. The fire now before you symbolizes that risk, that gift, and the human potential to rise above the challenges of the world. It is both a blessing and a burden. It has shaped the development of civilization, but it has also brought its own dangers. Fire has forged weapons, built empires, and illuminated the minds of scholars. But it has also burned entire cities, consumed forests, and claimed lives. It is a force of creation and destruction, and in that duality, it represents the very nature of existence itself. You watch as the high priest stands before the flame, his hands raised in silent prayer. His face is illuminated by the fire, and for a moment, it feels as though time stands still. The warmth of the flame, the flickering light, and the scent of the burning herbs fill the air, creating a sacred space where the mortal and divine meet. This is a moment of connection, of unity between mankind and the gods. The flame represents not just the gift of fire, but the ongoing relationship between the human and the divine, a relationship built on respect, reverence, and the shared gift of knowledge. As the ceremony continues, the crowd begins to move in procession. The fire is carried through the streets, its light flickering brightly in the darkening evening. The warmth of the flame spreads through the crowd, and you can feel the energy of the people around you, their excitement, their awe. The procession winds its way through the city, the flame lighting the path, a beacon of hope and progress. The city feels alive with the power of the flame, and you can sense the pride of the people. This is their gift, their legacy, and they are united in their gratitude for Prometheus' sacrifice. They carry the flame not just for the gods, but for themselves, for their ancestors, for their children, and for the generations to come. The procession moves on, the flame continuing to burn brightly as it is carried to the central temple. where it will be placed in the hearth, the heart of the city. The flame will burn there, a constant reminder of the gift that Prometheus gave to humanity. It will light the way for future generations, just as it has for those who have come before. As the ceremony comes to a close, the fire continues to burn, its warmth spreading through the city. The scent of incense lingers in the air, and the people begin to disperse, their faces still glowing from the light of the sacred flame. The city is quiet now, but the flame remains, burning brightly in the hearth, a symbol of divine gift that has shaped the course of human history. You stand there for a moment, watching the flame flicker and dance in the darkness. Its warmth radiates out, and you feel a deep sense of connection to the past, to the people who have come before you, and to the gift of fire that has allowed humanity to rise above the challenges of the world. The flame of Prometheus is a reminder that, even in the darkest of times, there is always light, always warmth, and always the potential for creation. You find yourself standing at the edge of a vast arena, the ground beneath your feet worn smooth from centuries of use. The stadium is filled with the sounds of excited chatter and the rustling of robes, the air thick with anticipation. Today is unlike any other. Today, the Olympics are taking place, and this is the culmination of years of dedication, sacrifice, and training. The sacred aspect of the Games is not lost on anyone here. In ancient Greece, victory at the Olympic Games was not simply a personal achievement. It was a sacred honor, a divine blessing, and the athletes who competed and won were treated as living gods. The noise from the crowd rises in waves, a collective heartbeat of excitement. There is a light breeze, cool against your skin, but the heat of the day lingers in the air. The athletes stand poised, muscles taut and glistening with sweat, their faces reflecting the intensity of the moment. The sense of reverence that surrounds the Games is palpable, not just for the athletes but for the gods they honor through their competition. Zeus, the king of the gods, is the true patron of these Games, and it is to him that the athletes owe their victory. This is not a mere contest of skill and strength, it is a sacred offering, a prayer to the divine. The first event has just concluded, and the victorious athlete steps forward, his chest heaving with exertion, his eyes shining with triumph. He is surrounded by his fellow competitors, but in this moment, he is the focus of the entire arena. The crowd murmurs in admiration, their eyes fixed on him, their respect for his prowess and dedication clear. As he approaches the altar, he pauses, offering a silent prayer to Zeus, thanking the god for the strength and favor that led him to victory. You can hear the soft rustling of robes as the priests prepare for the next part of the ceremony. There is a deep silence that falls over the arena, a collective breath held as everyone waits. Then, a single priest steps forward, holding an olive branch aloft. The olive wreath, humble, yet sacred, is the prize that the victor will wear. It is not gold, nor silver, but an offering to the gods, a symbol of honor and favor. As the priest places the olive wreath on the athlete's head, you can feel the weight of the moment. This is more than just a ceremonial act. It is a profound connection between mortal achievement and divine approval. The wreath, made from the sacred olive tree, represents not just victory, but the athlete's relationship with the gods. It is a reminder that their success is not solely their own, but a result of divine favor. The murmurs of admiration from the crowd rise in volume, a soft swell of sound that fills the arena, as if the very air is alive with celebration. The athlete stands tall, a proud smile crossing his face as he raises his arms in victory. The light breeze tousles his hair, and for a moment, the entire world seems to fade away. The crowd's cheers echo in his ears, but it is the divine presence he feels. In this moment that resonates the most. He has earned this, yes, but it is also a gift, a blessing from Zeus, bestowed upon him for his strength, his discipline, and his devotion. The athlete is not just a man. In this moment, he is a living embodiment of divine favor. You can almost feel the reverence in the air, the sacredness of the moment that the athlete and the crowd share. The Olympics are not just a test of physical prowess. They are a sacred ritual, one that connects the people to the gods, reinforcing the bond between the divine and the mortal. The athlete's victory is not just for himself or his city. State it is a victory for the gods themselves, and through his triumph, the whole of Greece is reminded of the power and presence of Zeus. As the ceremony progresses, you feel the weight of history surrounding you. The Olympics have been held for centuries, and today's victory is a part of that ongoing tradition. The athletes who competed in the games were not just fighting for personal glory. They were offering their strength, their skill, and their dedication to the gods. They were representing their city-state, yes, but they were also standing as living symbols of divine favor, their victories forever tied to the gods who watched over them. The priest offers a final prayer, and as the words echo in the arena, the athlete, still basking in the pride of his victory, turns to face the crowd. He raises his arms once more, his olive wreath catching the light. The sun shines down on him, the flickering light dancing across his form, and you realize that this is not just a moment of personal glory. This is a sacred bond between humanity and the divine, a moment when the gods walk among men, and men offer their very best in return. The celebratory music begins to play, filling the air with its rhythm and energy. The sounds of lyres and flutes echo, the melodies rising and falling in harmony with the crowd's energy. The cheers of the spectators blend with the music, creating a symphony of triumph, a celebration of the divine favor that has been bestowed upon the athlete. You can almost hear the sound of the victory cries reverberating through time. Through the centuries of Olympic history, the athlete, still in the center of the arena, begins to walk with pride, his every step echoing in the hearts of those around him. You can feel the connection between him and the crowd, a shared sense of accomplishment and joy. The people of Athens and, indeed, all of Greece have come together to celebrate this victory, and through the athlete's success, they are reminded of the power of the gods and the strength of their city-state. As the ceremony comes to a close, the athlete returns to his place among his fellow competitors, the wreath still resting on his head. The crowd's cheers begin to die down, but the sense of pride lingers in the air, a warmth that fills the space and connects everyone present. This is not just a victory for the athlete, it is a victory for all of Greece, a reminder of the divine favor that continues to guide their way. You reflect on the significance of this moment, the connection between success, divine favor, and the pride of representing one's city-state is profound. The athlete's victory is a reminder that their achievements are not just personal. They are a reflection of the strength and unity of the people they represent. The Olympic Games are not just about winning. They are about honoring the gods, connecting with the divine, and reinforcing the bond between humanity and the divine realm. As the crowd begins to disperse, you can feel the energy of the day lingering in the air. The sun has begun to set, casting a warm golden glow across the arena. The light breeze carries the distant sound of laughter and conversation. The excitement of the day is still alive in the hearts of the people. The athlete's victory will be remembered, not just for the physical achievement, but for the sacred bond it represents between the gods, the athlete, and the people of Greece. The Olympic Games are more than just a celebration of physical prowess. They are a profound spiritual experience, a reminder of the divine forces that shape the course of human history. Through the victory of the athletes, through the sacrifices made, and through the crowning of the victors with the olive wreaths, the people of Greece are reminded of their connection to the gods and the power that guides them. The Olympic spirit lives on, not just in the athletes, but in every person who stands as a witness to this sacred event, knowing that the flame of divine favor continues to burn brightly for all. The atmosphere is electric with anticipation as you step into the grand hall, the air filled with the soft murmur of voices and the steady beat of drums. Today, you've come to witness something truly special, an event dedicated to Apollo, the god of music, poetry, and the arts. Apollo is not just the god of the sun and light. He is the divine patron of musicians, dancers, and those who seek harmony through the power of sound. The festival honoring him is unlike any other, where music and dance blend into a divine performance that connects the mortal world with the gods. As you find your place among the crowd, you can already hear the faint plucking of strings, the light tremor of flutes, and the rhythm of the drums slowly building in the background. The sound is soft at first, like the distant whisper of wind, but it's growing, gaining momentum, as if the very earth beneath your feet is vibrating in time with the music. It's an unmistakable feeling, something beyond just entertainment. This is ritual, this is devotion, and the energy of the room is charged with anticipation. The musicians, both professional and amateur, begin to take their places. Some are seated on low platforms, their lyres in hand, while others stand tall, their flutes held confidently to their lips. There is an air of excitement as they prepare for their performance, the musicians exchanging quiet nods of encouragement with one another. This is their chance to offer their talents to Apollo, to create beauty and harmony in his name, and to share a connection with the divine. The moment the first notes are played, you feel a soft shiver run down your spine. The sweet sound of strings vibrating in harmony fills the air, rising and falling with a grace that seems to touch your very soul. It's as if the music is not just coming from the instruments, but from the earth itself, from the sky, from the very fabric of existence. The melody flows effortlessly, winding through the crowd like a delicate thread, weaving together the people and the gods. You close your eyes for a moment, and you can almost see Apollo himself, his fingers moving across the strings of his lyre, coaxing the notes to life. The dancers take their place in the center of the hall, their movements fluid and graceful, their feet barely touching the ground. As the music swells, so do they. You watch as their bodies move in perfect time with the rhythm, their steps light and precise, the soft rustle of their robes adding to the music's texture. The dancers are not merely performing, they are communicating, not just with each other, but with Apollo himself, their movements an offering to the god of the arts. There, every step is a prayer, every sway of their bodies an act of devotion. You can almost feel their joy, their reverence, as if they are transcending the human world, becoming something larger, something divine. The crowd watches in awe, their collective breath held as the performance builds in intensity. The music grows louder, more powerful, and with it, the energy in the hall increases. You can feel the vibrations in your chest now, the sound of the instruments and the rhythm of the dancers filling your very being. It's as if you are no longer just an observer, you are part of the performance, part of the divine language, being spoken through music and dance. The performers seem to lose themselves in the moment. Their faces are serene, their bodies flowing with effortless grace. You notice how the light catches the delicate movement of their hands, the way their hair sways with every turn, their feet tapping the ground in perfect unison with the beat. It's as though time has slowed down, the world outside the hall no longer existing. There is only the music, the dancers, and the divine presence of Apollo, whose power flows through every note, every movement. That as the music reaches its peak, the dancers spin faster, their robes a blur of color and motion. The flutes add a sweet, high-pitched melody that rises above the strings, creating a rich tapestry of sound that wraps around you like a warm embrace. The rhythm of the drums provides a steady heartbeat, grounding the performance and giving it weight. Each note, each step, builds upon the last, creating a sense of unity and harmony that feels almost sacred. This is more than just a performance, it is a divine communication, a language that transcends words and reaches straight to the heart. The music begins to slow, the dancers' movements becoming more deliberate and graceful, as if drawing the energy of the performance inward. You can feel the shift, the transition from the intensity of the music to a peaceful, almost meditative state. The final notes are played softly, the instruments gently fading into silence. The dancers come to a graceful halt, their final poses held for just a moment before they slowly lower their arms and bow. A soft, reverent applause ripples through the crowd, a gentle acknowledgement of the beauty that has just unfolded. The performers, still basking in the glow of Apollo's favor, step back, their faces glowing with pride and satisfaction. The air around you still feels alive with the echo of the performance, the vibrations of the music lingering in your chest. You reflect on the power of what you've just witnessed. Music and dance are more than just forms of entertainment in this world. They are a sacred language, a way for the Greeks to communicate with the gods. Apollo, the god of music, is said to speak through the sound of the lyre, through the rhythm of the dance. The Greeks believed that music had the power to heal, to inspire, and to bring people closer to the divine. In these performances, the line between the mortal and divine seems to blur, and for a moment, the gods themselves are among the people. The music, the dance, the energy in the room, it all feels like an offering to Apollo, a gift of beauty, creativity, and devotion. The performers are not just showcasing their talents, they are honoring the god who inspired their craft, who gave them the ability to create such beauty. The audience, too, plays a part in this ritual. By simply being present, by feeling the music and the dance, they are joining in the divine communication, connecting with Apollo and with each other. As the performance comes to a close, the hall fills with a sense of calm. The music has stopped, but its presence lingers, still vibrating. In the air, the dancers slowly leave the stage, their movements graceful even in their exit, their faces still serene and filled with the satisfaction of a performance well done. The crowd begins to disperse, the energy of the performance still buzzing in the background, like the lingering notes of a song that you can't quite forget. You leave the hall, still feeling the warmth of the music in your chest, the rhythm of the dance still in your step. The world outside seems a little quieter, a little more peaceful, as if the very air has been touched by the gods. The performance you've witnessed today wasn't just a showcase of talent, it was a reminder that music and dance are sacred, forms of expression, ways to communicate with the divine, to honor the gods who shape the world. As you walk through the streets, you notice the soft melodies of flutes and the steady beat of drums still lingering in the distance, echoing through the city. The sound of the performance hasn't quite left you, and you realize that the music will stay with you for a long time, a reminder of the power of Apollo and the connection between the gods and mortals. The rhythm, the harmony, and the beauty of the performance are woven into the very fabric of the day, and you carry it with you, just as the Greeks carry their connection to Apollo in their hearts. The sun is warm on your face as you step into the fields, where the harvest festival in honor of Demeter, the goddess of the earth and harvest, is about to begin. The crops are ripe, the grains golden, and the earth itself seems to hum with the promise of abundance. The air is thick with the earthy scent of freshly harvested crops, the sweet smell of wheat, the tang of ripened grapes, and the floral notes of wildflowers that have sprung up in the fields. It's a smell that carries with it the hard work of the people, the warmth of the sun, and the deep connection between the Greeks and the land they rely on for life. All around you, the community is gathered, their faces glowing with the satisfaction of a season's labor well done. The people are busy preparing offerings for Demeter, the goddess who ensures the fertility of the land and the bounty of the earth. There's a gentle bustle in the air, but it's not hurried. There's a peacefulness to the atmosphere, as if everyone here knows they are taking part in something much larger than themselves. This festival is a celebration of the cycles of life and death, of planting and reaping, and of the deep, enduring relationship between the gods and the earth. You watch as people bring their offerings, baskets of fruit, piles of golden grains, and freshly baked loaves of bread. The fruits are vibrant, their colors deep and rich, representing the fertility of the earth. You can see the bright oranges of figs, the deep red of pomegranates, and the glossy skin of fresh apples glistening under the sun. They are all laid out on woven baskets, ready to be presented to Demeter in thanks for the harvest. The loaves of bread are warm, their crust golden and fragrant, the perfect offering for the goddess who nourishes the people. The air is filled with the soft rustle of wheat being gathered, the gentle sound of the stalks swaying in the breeze. You can almost hear the earth breathing with the rhythm of the harvest airs, a connection between the people and the land that feels timeless, as if this cycle has always existed. The sounds of the festival blend with the whispers of nature, creating a symphony of peace and contentment. There is a reverence in the air, a deep gratitude for the land and the goddess who provides for them. As the offerings are laid out, you see the priests and priestesses of Demeter step forward, their robes flowing gracefully as they move to the center of the gathering. The people fall quiet, their heads bowed in respect. There's a moment of stillness, a collective breath held as the priests begin their prayers. Their voices soft but filled with reverence. They give thanks to Demeter for the bountiful harvest, for the fertile soil, and for the cycle of life that continues with each season. The prayers are filled with a sense of humility, a recognition of the people's dependence on the earth and the divine forces that guide them. As the offerings are placed on the altar, you can feel the weight of the moment. This is not just a ritual, it is a celebration of the very essence of life, a reflection of the deep respect the Greeks held for the earth and the gods who governed it. The offerings are not just food, they are symbols of life itself, of the crops that feed the people, of the bread that sustains them, and of the divine favor that ensures the earth continues to provide. After the prayers are offered, the sound of joyous singing fills the air. The people begin to gather, their voices rising in harmony as they sing songs of thanks to Demeter. The melodies are simple, yet powerful, carrying the weight of generations of tradition. The songs tell stories of the earth's cycles, of the death and rebirth of nature, and of the goddess's power to give life. The people sing with full hearts, their voices carrying on the wind, blending with the sounds of nature around them. You feel the energy in the air shift as the music fills the space. It's as if the earth itself is joining in the celebration, responding to the songs with the soft rustling of the leaves, the gentle hum of the breeze through the fields, and the distant murmur of the river that winds its way through the land. Everything feels connected: the people, the earth, the gods, all united in this moment of thanksgiving and joy. The celebration continues with dancing. The dancers move in circles, their feet tapping the earth in rhythmic steps that seem to mimic the movements of nature itself. You watch as they spin and twirl, their laughter filling the air, their faces radiant with joy. The dancers' movements are graceful but full of energy, like the earth itself coming alive in celebration. The music plays on, the sounds of the lyre and flute rising and falling in time with the dancers' steps. It's a perfect harmony, a celebration of the earth's gifts, and the connection between the people and the divine dot. As the sun begins to set, the glow of the evening light creates a soft, golden hue over the festival. The fire pits are lit, their flames dancing in the night air, adding to the warmth and light of the celebration. The scent of roasted meats and freshly baked bread fills the air, mixing with the earthy aroma of the harvest. The crackling of the fire adds to the atmosphere, the sound of the flames merging with the voices of the people as they continue to sing and dance. You take a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the fire and the contentment of the moment. The festival is a reminder of the cyclical nature of life and death, of the importance of the earth and the gods who govern it. Demeter's influence is everywhere. Her presence is felt in the soil beneath your feet, in the food you eat, and in the music that fills the air. The harvest is not just about the crops themselves, but about the connection between the people and the land, and between the mortals and the gods. As the night deepens, the music and dancing continue, the joy of the festival spilling into the night. The stars begin to twinkle above, and the sound of the celebration seems to carry out into the darkness, reaching the far corners of the land. You can feel the bond between the people, the earth, and the divine, and it's a bond that will endure. Long after the festival ends, the harvest will continue, the seasons will change, and Demeter's blessings will remain, as constant as the cycles of nature itself. The festival slowly winds down, the music softening, the dancers slowing their steps. The people begin to gather their offerings, the last prayers whispered as the night draws to a close. There is a sense of fulfillment in the air, a deep peace that settles over the community. The work of the harvest is done, the offerings have been made, and Demeter's blessings have been acknowledged. The earth has provided, and the people are grateful. As you walk away from the festival, the sounds of the singing and dancing fade into the distance, but the warmth of the celebration lingers in your heart. The connection between the people, the earth, and the gods is still with you, and you carry that sense of gratitude and reverence with you. The harvest is complete, but the bond between humanity and nature remains, as strong and enduring as the goddess Demeter herself. The air is heavy with the weight of anticipation, as you stand in the center of the gathering. All around you, the clinking of armor and the soft shuffle of feet fill the atmosphere, as warriors and citizens prepare for the sacred rituals honoring Ares and Athena, the gods of war and strategy. Today, the streets are filled with an aura of serious devotion, a martial atmosphere that is unlike any other festival in ancient Greece. Here, there is no room for light-heartedness, only reverence for the gods who guide them through the horrors of battle and the strategy of war. You feel a slight tremor in the ground beneath your feet, and as you look around, you see the warriors, their faces set in grim determination, moving in disciplined formations. They are dressed in their armor, the metal shining brightly under the sun, the weight of their weapons heavy in their hands. The air smells of metal and dust, a sharp scent that carries with it the promise of conflict. The sound of shields clanging together as they prepare for the ritual resonates through the streets, and the crisp sound of swords sliding from sheaths fills the space around you. It's as if the very elements themselves are primed for the action that is to come. The festival today is not just a celebration of victory, but a plea for favor from the gods, specifically Ares, the god of brutal strength, and Athena, the goddess of strategic warfare and wisdom. These two gods, though both associated with war, embody contrasting qualities. Ares represents the raw, chaotic violence of battle, the blood and fury that come with war. Athena, on the other hand, is the goddess of wisdom, tactics, and strategy. She represents the calculated movements on the battlefield, the decisions made in the heat of combat that can turn the tide of war without shedding a drop of blood. The duality of their nature is reflected in the rituals of this festival. As both qualities are honored and celebrated in their own unique way, you can hear the murmurs of prayers from the people around you, their voices low, but filled with sincere devotion. They are offering prayers for victory in battle, for protection in times of war, and for wisdom in the decisions that lie ahead. The sound of chanting fills the air, blending with the rhythmic steps of the warriors as they march in formation toward the temple of Ares and Athena. Their footsteps are deliberate, their armor rattling softly with each movement, as if they are walking into the presence of the gods themselves. As the warriors approach the altar, the mood grows more solemn. The priests stand ready, their hands raised in prayer, and the citizens follow in a reverent silence. You watch as the first warrior kneels before the altar of Ares, his helmet in his hands, his head bowed in respect. He offers a prayer for strength and courage in battle, a silent plea to the god who represents the sheer power and ferocity of war. His words are simple but heartfelt, as if he knows that his fate, and the fate of those around him, may rest on the will of the gods. Nearby, another warrior kneels before the altar of Athena, offering a prayer for wisdom in the heat of battle. There is no chaos here, no frantic cries of war. Instead, the prayer is quiet, measured, a reflection of the calm deliberation that Athena embodies. This warrior seeks not just victory, but the insight to make the right decisions, to strike where the enemy is weakest, to outthink and outmaneuver them before the first sword is drawn. As you watch, you feel the deep respect the Greeks have for both aspects of war, the strength of Ares and the wisdom of Athena. The scent of burning incense rises into the air, curling round the crowd like a veil of smoke. It mixes with the earthy smell of the soldier's armor, the fresh scent of leather, and the sharpness of metal. The faint flicker of torchlight adds to the atmosphere, casting long shadows on the ground and illuminating the faces of the warriors, their expressions serious but determined. The smell of incense mingles with the faint aroma of sacrifice as offerings, grained wine, and the finest cuts of meat are placed upon the altars. The sacrifices are humble but meaningful, a gesture of gratitude and respect for the divine forces that shape their lives. As the prayers are completed, the sound of the drums begins. The rhythm is steady and powerful, a deep, resonant beat that seems to vibrate through your chest. The sound calls the warriors to action, urging them to rise from their kneeling positions and stand tall. You can feel the energy of the crowd building as the drums continue to echo through the air. The warriors, now standing in formation, raise their shields in unison, the clang of metal ringing out like a battle cry. The collective movement is precise, powerful, and awe-inspiring, a visual and auditory testament to the unity of the people, the city, and the gods. With the beat of the drums still thundering in your ears, the crowning of the victors begins. The first warrior steps forward, his helmet removed, revealing his face glistening with sweat. The high priest steps forward, holding an olive wreath, the symbol of victory and honor. As the priest places the wreath upon the warrior's head, you hear the soft, reverent murmur of the crowd. It's a gesture of honor, not just for the warrior's skill and bravery, but for the favor of the gods, for the protection they have granted him in battle. The warrior stands tall, his chest heaving with exertion and pride. He raises his arms, acknowledging the gods, the crowd, and his fellow warriors. The sound of cheers erupts from the people, a collective exhalation of pride and respect. But as the warrior stands there, basking in his glory, you can't help but notice the profound connection between his victory and the gods. This is not just a moment of personal achievement. It is a moment when the mortal and divine are linked through the act of war. The gods have granted him the strength, the wisdom, and the courage to succeed. Without them, his victory would not have been possible. As the ceremony continues, The clanging of shields and the crisp sound of armor fill the air once more. You watch as the next warrior steps forward, his face full of determination and focus. The offerings of food and drink are presented, symbolizing the respect the warriors hold for their gods and the sacrifices made for victory. The smell of roasting meat mixes with the incense, creating an atmosphere of both reverence and celebration. The warriors, now united in their shared devotion, stand side by side, their bodies a living representation of the gods they honor. You reflect on the duality of Ares and Athena. Ares represents the brutal, untamed force of war, the chaos and destruction that come with battle. His influence is raw, primal, and destructive. Athena, on the other hand, represents the intellect, the strategy, the calm and calculated approach to warfare. Where Ares fights with unbridled strength, Athena fights with wisdom and foresight. The Greeks did not choose between them, they celebrated both aspects, understanding that war is not simply about strength or intellect, but the balance between the two. Victory requires both the power to fight and the wisdom to choose when and how to fight. As the festival progresses, the sound of the drums shifts from a steady beat to a more celebratory rhythm. The warriors and citizens begin to dance in the streets, their movements reflecting both the chaos and the discipline of war. The music is lively, the rhythm pulsing through the crowd as people celebrate the gods who have watched over them. The warriors, still wearing their armor, join in the dance, their movements powerful but graceful, a reminder that the god of war's strength is not just about brute force but about discipline and control. The festival continues long into the evening, the air thick with the sound of music and laughter. The flames of the torches flicker in the night, casting a warm glow over the people as they dance and celebrate. The scent of food, incense, and burning wood fills the air, creating an atmosphere that is both festive and reverent. The warriors, their victories celebrated, stand side by side with their fellow citizens, united in their respect for the gods and their gratitude for the strength, wisdom, and protection they have received. The festival honoring Ares and Athena is a reminder that war, like life itself, is a balance between strength and wisdom, between chaos and strategy. The Greeks understood that both aspects were essential to victory, and through their rituals and offerings, they sought to honor both gods. As the night falls and the sounds of celebration begin to fade, you are left with a sense of awe at the power of the gods and the profound connection between the divine and the mortal. You find yourself standing in the midst of a sacred gathering, where the air is thick with reverence and the quiet hum of devotion. This is a moment for the gods, a time for offerings, prayers, and rituals that have been passed down for generations. As you watch, you notice the women moving gracefully among the altar, their presence almost unnoticed by the larger crowd. But their roles, though subtle, are absolutely essential to the success of the festival. These women, often overlooked in the public ceremonies, hold the key to the rituals that keep the divine favor flowing. They are the priestesses, the caretakers of the sacred rites, the ones who ensure that the gods are properly honored and their will is carried out. You observe them with a quiet reverence, their movements slow and deliberate as they tend to the sacred fires, prepare the offerings, and whisper their prayers into the flickering flames. The soft rustle of silk robes fills the air as they move around the temple, their hands reaching out to arrange the offerings with a gentle touch. The fragrance of incense curls round you, the sweet scent mixing with the faint aroma of freshly baked bread and the earthy smell of the altar stones. You watch as the women, their faces serene and focused, place fruits, grains, and flowers onto the altar, each gesture imbued with meaning. Their offerings are not grand, not meant to be seen by the masses, but they are the lifeblood of the ritual. The gods are not only honored by the public displays of power or victory, but also by these quiet acts of devotion. As the women move around the altar, you hear the soft murmurs of their prayers. Their voices are barely audible, but they are steady and full of purpose. They pray for the success of the festival, for the protection of the city, and for the gods to look favorably upon their offerings. Their words are ancient, and as they speak them, it feels as though you are listening to the voices of countless women who have stood here before, performing the same sacred tasks. There is a sense of continuity in their actions, a link between past and present, a reminder that these rituals have been carried out for centuries. The women's involvement in these festivals is not flashy or public, and yet their participation is the very backbone of the celebrations. It is they who keep the sacred fires burning, who ensure that the gods receive the proper attention and care. Their roles, though often hidden in the background, are indispensable. The sacrifices, the prayers, the offerings, they all depend on the steady hands and quiet devotion of these women. You watch one of the priestesses as she carefully tends to the sacred flame. The fire flickers and crackles, casting dancing shadows on her face, and for a moment, it feels as if the flame is alive with energy. Her fingers move delicately over the fire, adding fresh logs and ensuring the flame remains steady. There is a quiet intensity in her movements, a sense of connection to something larger than herself. She is not just tending the fire, she is keeping the divine presence alive, ensuring that the ritual continues without interruption. As the ritual progresses, you see how the women work in tandem with one another. There is a quiet camaraderie among them, an unspoken understanding of their shared task. They move with ease and grace, their actions synchronized like a well-rehearsed dance. It's as if they'd have done this 1,000 times before. Each step, each movement, a part of a larger whole. They are not seeking recognition, not looking for praise. They are simply doing what is required, fulfilling their role in the sacred cycle of worship. The sound of their soft prayers blends with the hum of the festival around them. The crowd is larger now, the public rituals underway, with the music and the chanting of the people rising in volume. But in this quiet corner of the temple, the women continue their work, their focused, unwavering. The sense of peace here is palpable, as if the gods themselves are watching over this sacred space, ensuring that the ritual is carried out with the utmost care and respect. You were struck by the contrast between the public celebrations and the quiet devotion of the women. The men, the warriors, and the political leaders may be the ones who take center stage, but it is the women who ensure that the gods are properly honored. They may not be the ones who receive the loudest cheers or the grandest accolades, but their role is no less important. Without them, the rituals would not be complete. Without them, the connection between the divine and the mortal world would be broken. As the festival draws to a close, you see the final offerings being made. The women gather the last of the fruits and flowers, arranging them carefully on the altar. Their hands move with precision, placing each item with the reverence it deserves. The fire that they have tended so carefully now burns brightly, its light casting a warm glow over the temple. The air is thick with the smell of incense, and the soft murmur of prayers fills the space once more. The ritual is complete, and the gods have been honored. You can't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude for the women who have made this possible. Their quiet, unseen work has allowed the festival to unfold, ensuring that the gods are properly honored and their favors secured. Their role in the religious life of Greece may be overlooked, but it is no less essential than any other. Without their devotion, their care, and their steady hands, the festivals would fall apart, and the connection between the gods and the people would be severed in this moment. You realize that the success of the festival is not just a reflection of the gods' favor, it is a reflection of the quiet, steadfast dedication of the women who make it all possible. Their participation, though often silent and hidden from view, is the thread that ties everything together. They are the caretakers of the sacred, the ones who ensure that the rituals are performed with the proper reverence and care. As the last of the offerings is placed upon the altar, you feel a deep sense of peace. The festival is over, the gods have been honored, and the women who played such an important role in the rituals slowly begin to disperse. The temple is quieter now, the sounds of the festival fading into the distance. The warmth of the fire still lingers in the air, and you are left with the sense that, though the public rituals may have ended, the work of these women will continue, their prayers and devotion carrying on in the quiet corners of the temple. The role of women in these festivals, though often unnoticed, is a vital one. It is their hands that prepare the offerings, their voices that whisper the prayers, and their hearts that keep the sacred fires burning. They may not stand in the spotlight, but without them, the festivals would lose their meaning. Through their quiet work, they ensure that the gods are properly honored, that the rituals are carried out with the utmost care and respect, and in that, they play a central role in the spiritual life of ancient Greece, a role that, though often hidden in the background, is no less essential to the success of the festivals. You step into the heart of the celebration, the grand feast. That marks the culmination of the festival. The air is thick with the rich, inviting aromas of food, a blend of roasted meats, fresh bread, and the sweet scent of honey cakes. The tables stretch far and wide, piled high with offerings meant to honor the gods, especially Dionysus and Demeter, the gods of wine and harvest. It is a feast of abundance, a time to give thanks for the bounty of the earth and the divine favor that has allowed the people to thrive. As you walk deeper into the celebration, you notice the vibrant colors of the food laid out before you: reds of roasted lamb, the golden hue of freshly baked bread, and the bright green of figs and grapes. The honey cakes, soft and glistening with syrup, are piled high on delicate platters, and the wine flows freely in deep cups. There's a sense of joy and camaraderie in the air, as people gather together to share in the fruits of the earth and the gifts of the gods. The warm aroma of the freshly cooked food fills your nostrils, making your mouth water. You can hear the clink of wine cups being raised in celebration, the soft murmur of conversations, and the occasional burst of laughter that echoes across the gathering. The sounds of the festival blend together, creating a harmony that feels both sacred and joyful. People sit together in groups, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of firelight, their eyes bright with happiness and gratitude. There's no rush here, no urgency, just a peaceful, shared appreciation for the moment, the food, and the company. You take a seat at one of the tables, the cool stone beneath you grounding you to the earth, and a servant approaches, offering you a cup filled with rich red wine. The liquid glimmers in the light, a deep, inviting hue. You take the cup and bring it to your lips, the sweetness of the wine lingering on your tongue, the slight bitterness of the grapes giving way to the warmth of the drink. It's more than just wine, it's a gift from Dionysus, a symbol of divine favor and the joy that comes from celebrating the harvest. The wine is both an offering to the gods and a token of the community's gratitude for the abundance they've received. As you take another sip, you look around at the feast before you. The tables are laden with more food than anyone could possibly eat, but it's not about quantity. It's about the act of sharing, of giving thanks for the harvest and the divine blessings that have made it possible. The food isn't just for sustenance, it's a way to honor the gods, to give back a portion of what they've received. You watch as people pass platters of food from one to another, their faces soft with contentment as they share in the feast. The honey cakes are especially delicious, soft and warm, their sweetness filling the air as they're served to guests. You break off a piece, the cake crumbling slightly in your hands, and as you take a bite, the honey melts on your tongue. It's the perfect balance of sweetness and warmth, the kind of treat that makes you feel connected to something larger than yourself. The honey, the wine, the bread, all of it is a reminder of the earth's abundance, the generosity of the gods, and the unity of the people who come together to celebrate it. As the feast continues, the sound of music begins to fill the air. It's soft at first, just the gentle strumming of a lyre, but soon the sound of flutes and drums join in, adding layers to the melody. The music is lively, but not overwhelming, a background to the conversation and laughter. The rhythmic beat of the drum seems to sync with the pulse of the people. There's an energy in the air, a shared rhythm that ties everyone together in this moment of gratitude and celebration. The dancers begin to gather near the center of the feast, their movements fluid and graceful as they move in time with the music. Their robes swirl around them, creating ripples of color and light as they twirl. The sound of their feet hitting the ground, the soft rustle of fabric, and the melody of the music combine to create an atmosphere of joy and reverence. The dancers are not just performing, they are offering their bodies in praise of the gods, expressing gratitude for the harvest, for the abundance of the land, and for the divine gifts that have allowed them to live and thrive. You watch, captivated, as the dancers move in perfect harmony with one another. Their movements are graceful yet full of energy, the kind of fluidity that seems to come from somewhere deep inside. It's not just a dance, it's a prayer, an offering to the gods through the art of movement. The community, the feast, the musical of it is woven together in this sacred act of gratitude. The gods of the harvest, Demeter and Dionysus, are honored not only through the food, but through the joy, the unity, and the life force that flows through the people as they dance and celebrate. The night draws on, and the feast continues. The food, the music, and the laughter flowing freely. The sounds of the celebration fill the air, the murmurs of conversation blending with the melody of the instruments and the rhythm of the dancers' feet. You feel a deep sense of connection to those around you, to the earth, to the gods, and to the shared abundance that makes this moment possible. As the evening winds down, the firelight flickers, casting long shadows on the ground, and the sounds of the feast slowly begin to fade. The wine is drunk, the last of the honey cakes are eaten, and the dancers take their final bow, their faces flushed with joy and satisfaction. There's a contentment in the air, a quiet fulfillment that comes from knowing that the gods have been properly honored, that the harvest has been celebrated, and that the community has come together in unity and gratitude. The feast may be over, but the sense of abundance lingers. You can still taste the sweetness of the wine and the honey cakes on your lips, still hear the faint echo of the music in the distance. The festival was more than just a celebration of food, it was a celebration of life itself, of the cycles of nature, and of the deep connection between humanity and the divine. As you leave the feast and step into the cool night air, you carry with you the warmth of the celebration, the sense of shared joy and gratitude that will remain long after the last candle is extinguished. The gods have been honored, and the harvest has been celebrated, but the spirit of the feast lives on, carried in the hearts of the people who came together to give thanks for the bounty of the earth. And in the warmth of the food, the music, the laughter, and the dance, you realize that the feast itself was not just about abundance, it was about community, unity, and the joy that comes from sharing life's blessings with those around you. The morning light filters softly through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the ground as you walk through the bustling streets of the city. There's a gentle hum to the day, the rhythm of life flowing around you as people go about their business. The farmers are preparing their tools for a day in the fields. The market vendors are setting up their stalls, and you can hear the faint murmur of voices as people exchange news and goods. There's a quiet sense of purpose in the air, but it's more than just the work of the day. Beneath everything, you can feel the pervasive influence of the gods, a sense that they are always watching, always present, guiding every moment of daily life. Every action seems to carry with it the weight of divine attention. As you pass a group of farmers, you notice one of them offering a small prayer to Demeter before he begins his work. He holds a sheaf of wheat in his hands, a gesture of respect to the goddess of the harvest, asking for her favor in the coming season. It's a simple prayer, spoken softly, but it is deeply felt. The gods, especially Demeter, are integral to the success of the harvest, and the farmer knows that without her favor, the land may not yield its bounty. There is no room for complacency, no forgetting that the gods are in control of the flow of nature. The harvest, like so many aspects of life, is a gift, and the people know they must honor the divine to ensure its abundance. The quiet hum of daily life is punctuated by these small, yet meaningful, moments of devotion. It's not that the gods are the focus of every thought, but they are always present, woven into the fabric of every task. You notice a merchant placing a small offering of honey cakes on a nearby altar to Hermes as she sets up her stall. The offering is simple but heartfelt, a way of asking for a successful day of sales, for smooth dealings with customers, and for safe travels in and out of the city. The weight of the offering in her hands, light as it may be, feels like a responsibility, a small token of gratitude for the favor that the gods bestow on her work. The gods are not distant figures, existing only in the temples or the grand festivals. They are present in every moment, in every action, from the plowing of the fields to the bustling of the marketplace. Even in personal relationships, their influence is felt. You walk past a couple sitting at a quiet cafe, their heads bent close together, their soft conversation blending with the ambient sounds of the city. Before they speak on an important matter, you notice them pause for a moment, their hands touching gently in a silent prayer to Aphrodite, the goddess of love. It's not a grand gesture, but it is a moment of reverence for the goddess who governs their love and relationships. The quiet prayers spoken before important decisions, whether personal or professional, are common. No task, no matter how mundane, is too small for the gods' attention. They are asked to bless the work of artisans, to guide the decisions of politicians, and to ensure the safety of travelers. The gods are present in the quiet moments of reflection, in the hum of the daily grind, always watching, always guiding. As you move through the streets, you pass a group of children playing near the temple of Apollo. They are running and laughing, their joy ringing out in the open space. Before they run too far, one of the older children pauses, turns, and looks toward the temple. With a quiet gesture, they make a small offering to Apollo, some fruit, a flower picked from the nearby fields, as a gesture of gratitude for the god's protection and favor. It's a simple offering, but it's made with reverence and understanding. The children know that Apollo, the god of healing, music, and the arts, is not only a figure of grand rituals, but also someone who watches over them in their everyday lives. The pervasive sense that the gods are always watching is something you can't shake as you continue on your way. The quiet prayers, the small offerings, the rituals woven into daily life, all of these reflect the deep understanding that the divine presence is integral to every action. The gods are not just objects of worship during grand festivals. They are part of the very fabric of existence, shaping the successes and struggles of the people in ways both grand and small. You stop for a moment at the edge of the city, looking out over the fields and hills beyond. In the distance, you can see farmers working the land, their plows cutting through the soil. Their movements are deliberate and purposeful, but there's an air of quiet reverence in their work. As they labor, they are not just tending to the earth. They are offering themselves to the gods, ensuring that the harvest will be plentiful. The land, the crops, and the people's livelihoods are all tied together in a sacred cycle, with the gods at the center. The air around you feels charged with this knowledge, a gentle hum of connection between the mortal and divine. In the distance, you see a group of soldiers returning from a campaign, their faces weary but proud. They are not just returning home from battle, they are returning from a journey that has been shaped by the will of the gods. Before they enter the city, they stop at the temple of Athena, where they offer their prayers of thanks. It is not just for victory in battle, but for the wisdom and strategy that Athena, the goddess of war and wisdom, granted them. The soldiers, standing together in silence, raise their hands to the goddess, their prayers quiet but full of meaning. They ask for her continued favor, for protection in future battles, and for the wisdom to make decisions that will shape the future of their people. As you watch them, you feel the depth of the connection between the gods and the people. The warriors do not believe that they won their victories alone. They know that the gods shaped the outcome of the battle, that their strategy, their courage, and their success were all gifts from Athena. The gods are not separate from daily life. They are woven into every decision, every action, every moment of the day, whether in the form of quiet prayers for success or large public rituals. The divine is always present, always guiding. Later in the day, you join the people for a community meal in the open square. The scent of freshly cooked food, roasted meats, bread, and fruits fills the air, mingling with the quiet murmur of conversation. As people gather, they take a moment to pause before they begin to eat. There is a shared understanding that this meal, this moment of abundance, is not something to be taken for granted. It is a gift, a blessing from the gods. Before they eat, the people offer a small prayer of thanks, asking for the gods' continued favor and for a good harvest in the year to come. The sense of gratitude that fills the air is palpable. The gods, who have watched over the people in their work and in their struggles, are not far away. They are present in the food on the table, in the strength of the people, and in the shared joy of the community. The people know that without the gods, none of this would be possible. And so, before they break bread, they give thanks. As the evening draws near, the light begins to fade, and the first stars appear in the sky. The quiet hum of the day is replaced by the soft sounds of the evening, the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze, the distant sound of children playing, and the murmur of voices as the day winds down. The gods are still present, their influence still felt in every moment. There is a sense of peace, of harmony, as if the world itself is in balance, thanks to the guidance of the gods. The gods, you realize, are never distant. They are with the people in every step of their lives, from the fields to the marketplace, from the temple to the home. Their influence is felt in even the smallest details: the quiet prayers before a meal, the offerings made before a journey, the rituals that mark the changes of the seasons. In every corner of life, the gods are present, shaping the world with their wisdom, their favor, and their power. And through these small acts of devotion, the people remain connected to the divine, acknowledging the God's role in their daily lives, and offering their thanks in return. You find yourself immersed in the vibrant energy of a modern festival, the air alive with colors, sounds, and the unmistakable buzz of excitement. Around you, the streets are adorned with bright banners and twinkling lights, the scent of fragrant flowers mingling with the aroma of freshly cooked food. The laughter and chatter of the crowd create a warm hum, a universal melody of celebration that transcends time and place. As you soak in the scene, it strikes you just how much these moments echo the ancient Greek festivals, those grand, sacred celebrations that have left a lasting legacy woven into the fabric of modern culture. The vibrant decorations drape every corner, garlands of flowers, colorful ribbons fluttering in the breeze, and the soft glow of lanterns that will soon light up the night. This joyful display of community spirit feels familiar, even though it's thousands of years removed from the simple temples and altars of ancient Greece. Yet, despite the passage of centuries, there's a shared essence, the human desire to gather, to honor, and to celebrate. It's a timeless need, expressed anew with each generation. You can hear the rhythmic beats of drums and the lively strumming of stringed instruments, not unlike the lyres and flutes that once filled the air. During the festivals of Apollo and Dionysus, music carries the crowd forward, uniting strangers with familiar melodies and beckoning dancers into the circle. The sounds are a bridge, a connection between the past and present, linking us to those who centuries ago gathered beneath the same sun and stars, celebrating the gifts of life and the divine. The thrill of the crowd's excitement is palpable. People cheer and clap, their faces alight with joy and anticipation. The same energy must have surged through the ancient amphitheaters and festival grounds, where spectators eagerly awaited athletic contests, theatrical performances, and sacred rituals. While the costumes and customs have evolved, the communal spirit remains the same. It's a dance as old as civilization itself, the human heart coming alive in the company of others, in moments marked by reverence and revelry. Looking closer, you notice that many traditions we enjoy today echo those ancient rites, though adapted to new contexts. The offering of food and drink to guests during these modern festivals mirrors the communal feasts of Demeter's harvest celebrations. The symbolic lighting of candles or lanterns recalls the sacred fires tended by priestesses in long-forgotten temples. Even the procession of floats and banners through city streets finds its roots in the grand parades that once wound their way to the Acropolis, honoring Athena or celebrating victories in the Olympic Games. It's fascinating to reflect on how these rituals, though reshaped by history and culture, continue to fulfill fundamental human needs. Celebrations serve as a way to honor something greater than ourselves, whether gods, ancestors, or ideals. They are moments to pause from daily life, to express gratitude for blessings, and to reinforce the bonds that hold communities together. In a world that often feels fragmented and fast-paced, festivals offer a space to slow down, to connect, and to remember our shared humanity. You can almost hear the echoes of ancient voices in the laughter of children, the hum of prayers whispered in quiet corners, and the joyous songs that fill the night air. The reverence for the divine, the celebration of life's cycles, and the communal joy of coming together have never truly faded. They have simply transformed, finding new expressions in contemporary customs while keeping the spirit of the old alive. As the sun sets and the lanterns glow brighter, the festival continues to unfold a beautiful tapestry of sound, color, and emotion. The universal language of celebration transcends time and culture, reminding you that no matter where or when we live, the desire to honor, to celebrate, and to unite is woven into the very fabric of our existence. The legacy of the Greek festivals is alive within each of us, inspiring us to gather, to give thanks, and to find joy in the company of others. In these shared moments of festivity, ancient and modern worlds converge, and you feel a deep sense of belonging, a thread in the endless story of humanity's search for meaning, connection, and divine grace.